And now, Spotlight Montana with Laurel Staples.
In this Spotlight Montana, the director of the University of Montana's Irish Studies program, Trailock O'Riordan, introduces us to some special guests, and they will share with us some of Montana's Irish history and a new class being offered at the program. Also, a special performance featuring traditional Irish songs, including one with a unique link to Butte. Enjoy.
Well, I think I'm just going to start with you, Trailock. I'll just have you introduce everyone.
Okay, I'm here. On my right-hand side is Gianni Luozza, and she's a visiting Fulbright Irish language teaching instructor from Gougane Barra in West Cork, which is in the Irish-speaking area, and it's an area as well with a strong song tradition. So she's a traditional Irish singer, and she's going to perform a few songs for us. And here on my left is my daughter, Roisin Marie, the apple of my eye. She also has a great love for Irish music and song, and she comes here and sings with Jane and plays the fiddle with Jane. And basically, we have come together of an Irish American and an Irish, two young ladies, and united by this common culture and this love for this culture that they share. So that's who we have here. I'm very fortunate and very privileged to be in their company and very humbled.
Well, an early St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. And I know that the celebrations, of course, have changed so much with the pandemic, but I understand that there's going to be a virtual concert.
There are. Actually, we have a virtual concert coming up that will go out live on St. Patrick's Day at noon. And what we have here are musicians, performers, and dancers, some of whom have a connection to the university in the sense they have been out here and studied. But they're all participating from Ireland, and it's all going to happen virtually. And the presenter is Jane, so she is the young lady who has organized all of this. And the notice went out yesterday, it was happening, and I think within 24 hours, we have nearly 80 people registered for it. So that's one good thing. We're keeping the spirit of St. Patrick's Day alive and reminding people as well of, St. Patrick, who he was and what he went through, because there's a lot of hope and a lot of inspiration to be drawn from looking at the life of St. Patrick. Hopefully we can convey that in this celebration of our national saint.
Well, Jen, you're new to the University of Montana as an assistant teaching Fulbright, and your impressions of being here.
So I was welcomed straight away. It almost feels like it's another part of Ireland, like another province or county. I've got an Irish welcome from Trailock and his family, but also from the community here in Missoula and in Montana, from the students, from everybody at the university. From the first week when I joined a traditional Irish music session here in Missoula, it's just been excellent. I can't believe how at home I feel here.
Well, we welcome you here and glad to have you here. Tell me a little bit about your musical background.
So I grew up in Gaeltacht Fuskery, which is an Irish-speaking area in West Cork. So I've been playing the fiddle since I was about maybe 7 or 8. And then I've the same with singing. I think I started when I was about 10 years old. I had the fabulous Nellie Croneen, who's a famous sean-nós singer, a traditional Irish singer in Ireland now. She was my babysitter when I was younger. So she has been teaching me songs since then. So that's where the love and the passion for Irish music began from a very young age.
Well, and you're both planning to sing some songs for us. Tell me a little bit about what you'll sing.
The song that Jane is going to sing is about, it's called the Uncoupling Bon, which is translated to the white horse. And it's about this horse that was just old. Its legs were weak. It was very thin and had one eye. And it was the songwriter, it was the singer's best friend. And he wrote a poem about this horse, and he loved it. And his father told him it had died, and he wrote a poem, and then they eventually added music, right?
Yeah, so the writer of the song, Saoirse Shorten, had emigrated to London or to England, and when he heard about how his white horse had died, he wrote this poem for the White Horse.
Okay. All right. Well, we'd love to hear it.
Maha crack is maha cos boss hagen getrau. Nor like to her long car valing bepun. Nile far bleb no alebu eli winin bapa. Akle lorin jovi negeren medi shanka pelin bon. In Ivler and a mer shecha shisha sail. Nira she win rev marbakud eo cocktail tacoil. Giger mo molequer case minute is she slum. Is fear yet the core of the erkin on capelin bon. The visu le me canin quine go vile go jo. The vishi er la pandul le sonis na so. At the year works I claps new shower per la rock precon. Esura kabui takasi ng kapelin bon. Akos en irlader kiger han ik bedelon haptur. Ko kaungen apon a kandas a kandas kan lu. Is clean and selon a repslon a contain gossabon. Is burial a clon upon lorian kapelin. Beyer hier how found le hain and ross. A hak the red to the purple ilash kela on bush. The Kuruka Glanton Lord Bukshin Teramagon is so lost as she upon Gavayakanam on Kapelin Bon. Good night, that's it.
Beautiful. Traylock, love it. The thoughts going through your mind as you listen to that.
Well, it's like the song takes you. I heard once somebody describe this traditional style of singing. And he was asked by an interviewer, when do you know that you have the song? And he said, you never have the song has you. And you know that time it does when it takes you and brings you back to where it was composed among the people who composed it. So you can actually hear the sounds, even get the smells, get the sense of being in the presence of a generation or generations have gone before you. And this is what happens when I listen to this music, the Irish music and Irish song. I'm no longer in Montana. I'm back home in Ireland amongst my own people. And it's a great sense of connection, something very spiritual. And I mean, it's great that we have Jane Hare doing it. And she's going to go on now as well. She's developing courses as well, because there's a very strong interest in this kind of singing here in America. So she's developing a course, or will begin developing a course here shortly, which we will offer to our students in the fall. So it'll give them an opportunity to experience this really rich tradition, because this goes way back thousands of years, and it's still sung in the Irish-speaking areas of Ireland. So it gives them an opportunity to connect to this. And it has had a powerful impact on people, even those who don't know the language. We had another traditional singer out here one time, and he sang a song that was composed in Bute, in the Irish language, by immigrant miners. And he said, many of you down here in the audience don't know this. He was in Bute singing at his performance. But he said the man who actually wrote this song is actually lying in St. Patrick's Cemetery here in Bute. That song came back to Ireland with immigrants, and it became part of the song tradition where I grew up. And he said, I want to share it, which is probably the first time it has been sung in Bute in maybe 100 years. I don't know. But he sang the song, and at the interval, a lady came up to him and she said, I don't know what you say. I didn't need to know what you said, because somehow that song took me to some place I had never been before and made me aware of who I am, who were those who came before me, who I belong to. Thank you so much. Because like Teresa says, well, that's what song does. It comes from
I
the
feel
soul.
exactly the same
Yeah.
listening to that. And your daughter has followed the path of music as well.
Yeah.
She has, yeah, she has. I mean, it's so amazing. I let her speak for herself. When we were very young, of course, you know, the Irish Studies program offers courses in Irish music and song. So we had this particular year in 2011, a fiddler called James Kelly, a very, very well-known fiddler, and he gave a concert in the Recital Hall. My wife and children came along with the baby Sean and Roisin. She was 3, and she listened, and whatever it was, that music seemed to have cast a spell over her because she developed an interest in music. She wanted to learn to play the fiddle, the same as James Kelly had done. So I dismissed it. I said I'd get her a tin whistle. Well, the tin whistle came flying back at me faster than I handed it over. I tried a guitar. I said not the fiddle. So eventually we gave in and we had her take the fiddle. And we've been fortunate then with other teachers that have come out as part of Fulbright, other fiddlers. And we did get other classes, but her love was traditional Irish music. That's what really excites the pack. There's a connection there. So, yeah. And I mean, I should let her speak for herself as well. I'm doing all the talking. I'm going to shut up and let Roisin talk about it.
Would you like to share your thoughts?
Well, he's right. I've always liked the violin. In fact, when I was just little, and they gave me a violin, my first, fiddle, they gave me my fiddle, and I didn't know anything, but my favorite singer, and he's Irish singer, and he still is, was Luke Kelly. And my favorite song was Rocky Road Dublin. So I would just play that, and I would just grab my little bow and my violet and my fiddle, and I would just play that, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything at all. I would just make these screechy, annoying sounds throughout the house, but it's so good.
Oh, well, you have another song to share with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do this one together, actually.
And so I sit back and let them come in together.
This one is kind of about a fickle girl and who she prefers to marry. She won't marry the fisherman because he's always wet. But she likes the fiddler, and I'll have Jane explain this one.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that history of matchmaking in Ireland. So she doesn't want to marry, so her father is telling her to marry all these people, but she's saying she won't marry the tailor, she won't marry the fisherman, she won't marry the blacksmith, and she's all her excuses. And then at the end, she says her love is the fiddler, and that she's happy to be with him forever.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So Mavila Gelahu, Rama Krius Tehu, O Mavila Gelahu, Snima Galata Tonsha. Divine Morata Rorica, Derorica, Derorica, Divine Morata Rorica, Case Buddha Viano. So Mavila Gelahu, Rama Krius Tehu, O Mavila Gelahu, Snima Galata Tonsha. Ni fos in venom gawedu, ni fos in venom gawedu, Arvin Shadows the Carton. So Mavila Gelahu, Grama Krius Vehu, O Mavila Gelahu, Snima Galata Tonsha. He falls in vain, Antiskara, Antiskara, Antiskara. He falls in vain, Antiskara. Fabian Jeff looked before. So Mavila Gelahu, Grama Krius Vehu, O Mavila Gelahu, Snima Galata Tonsha. Ni fos in venom calorie, ni fos in venom calorie, din calligraphy non gara. So Mavila Gelahu, Rama Krius Vehu, O Mavila Gelahu, Snima Galata Tonsha. Shame around Valador, 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 shame around Valador, shade Valador is Fiala.
So ma vila gila who, Grama Cree forever who, oh ma vila gila who, Stipiata Galma Vahe.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you.
So again, both of you will be featured in this virtual concert coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be singing, and then there'll be a whole host of musicians and singers and dancers from Ireland.
We have a lot of people that are moving into the state, a lot of newcomers. Share some information on Montana's Irish history.
Well, as Jane mentioned here, in her experience, it's like an Irish province, you know, or an Irish county. In fact, they used to refer to Bute as the 33rd county. There's 32 in Ireland, and the other one is in Bute. But I think if you kind of look back, I mean, the Irish have been part of the history here since, you know, the first European settlers came in here, and certainly became part of the Irish-American War, or the Irish imagination, with Thomas Francis Meagher, because he was the former acting governor. He was the Irish nationalist leader, the great orator, the Civil War general, the leader of the Irish Brigade. And it's in Montana that his bones lay. So once Meagher died and became associated with Montana, Montana was no longer any distant place. It held the bones of a great Irish patriot, and that made it something sacred, something special, and very Irish. And this is very much the culture that's here as well. I mean, I've lived in places like New York and San Francisco with Irish American communities, and great communities. But I discovered about the community here in Montana in particular, because of the nature of the immigration. They did not come to an existing city. They came to an empty space. They built their own city, imposed their own stamp on it. They never learned really to kind of submit to an existing order. So they developed a very kind of a can-do attitude. And the Irish Studies program that's here today is because of that. I mean, people have asked, why do you have an Irish Studies program in Montana? It's a huge state with a tiny population, not a very wealthy community, and yet you can do this, and we can't do it in San Francisco or Seattle or in Denver or other places. And I said, there's only one thing. We can talk about the money side of it, but there's something else. There's a character, you know, that goes right back to the early days of these immigrants, of coming out, facing challenges, coming together, overcoming those challenges, and creating something that benefits not just their own community, but the community outside, you know, the state itself, outside the region, and even on a national level, because this is what's happening. Like, even as we speak, we offer online language courses through this Irish Studies program now. And we have people coming in from taking these courses from Kentucky and Louisiana. I had to go to a map to find where Kentucky was. Now, excuse my lack of familiarity with the geography of America. But like, you had them coming in from all the East Coast, but it's to Montana that they're coming. And that speaks to the Irish tradition, the Irish spirit that still exists here. And then it surrounds you. I mean, you walk up there to the Capitol building, there's a statue there. That's Thomas Francis Meagher. He's on his horse, that hand in defiance, basically saying this: we are the Irish. We will not be defeated. We will not be overcome. But what we have is something rich, something special, and we are going to share it with you. And this is what we do. This is what we are doing.
Okay. Well, in wrapping up, anything else that you'd like to share? Maybe a couple of words in Gaelic?
Well, Banachtina na Féile Pádraig. We just want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. We want to tell people to support the Irish Studies program, to support the Friends of Irish Studies or any other organizations that promote Irish music, Irish language, Irish dance, Irish sports, you know, or encourage people to connect with the history of Ireland. There's a great lesson. And from our history, we draw a lot of hope and inspiration dealing with our present and building our future. So think of all these, what we have been given by those people who have come before us. And think back to the saint who was taken from his own people, dragged away, became a slave, escaped, and rather than come along and look at what he had been through, he actually found it himself to come back and to bring the faith to Ireland. And basically, he's been an inspiration for generations and generations and generations of Irish. So even though he's Welsh or Scottish, you know, but still, he is the kind of founding father, representative of that great, generous spirit. So we want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. And we'll do that in Irish, which is Banach Dín na Féile. So we'll just do it all together after three. Hand o three. Banach Dín na Féile Pádraig.
Perfect. And the same to you. I wish I'll have to work a little bit on the pronunciation of that.
Well, we have online classes, Laura. We've had this discussion. As a matter of fact, I remember talking about setting up for Irish classes in Butte 20 years ago.
Yes, and I need to do that. And I've got 3 children at the University of Montana with 5 generations of Irish, if not longer. They grew up in Butte, and I'm going to encourage them to embrace some of their ancestry and sign up for some of these classes.
You are an angel.
I guess big sports are good for Lana Padraig. Shouldn't big sports are good, right? Then have fun.
Yeah. Have fun
On
on
St.
St.
Patrick's Day. Just have fun.
Thank you. Well, enjoy your special month here, and thank you so much for doing this.